Hey guys, Robbie here from CrossFit South Bend with a special Halloween edition of Wellness Wednesday. We are here with the three little piggies, and you can see that Remy is not too happy about being in this big costume. We got the big bad wolf on camera. So today we're going to be talking about how to cook your vegetables. So one of the biggest things I see doing nutrition coaching is people aren't familiar with how to cook vegetables, or they're not familiar with a way to cook them and make them taste good. So I'm going to show you a method that I use for the overwhelming majority of my vegetables. I would say more than 75% of the vegetables I cook, this is the way I cook them. So I laid out here a few vegetables that you can do this with. You can do this with green beans. You can do this with butternut squash. You can do this with jicama. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to explain in just a second. But we do it all the time with any type of white potato. You can do this with a diced sweet potato. You can do this with broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. In fact, the cruciferous vegetables, the broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, tend to really benefit from roasting at high heat with some salt and some oil. So just for tonight, just to take an example, just to maybe show you something that you haven't done before, we're going to talk about jicama and jicama sticks. So if you've never heard of jicama, technically it's a legume, but it's a non-problematic legume if you follow the paleo diet. It's kind of like a South American potato of sorts. It's very fibrous. And Whole Foods sells these jicama sticks. Now, it's really not that hard to make these if you pick up a jicama at a store, but pre-bought, they work pretty well too. So all you would do with anything you want to cook is, take your green beans, your butternut squash, your jicama, or your cauliflower, or what have you, put it on a sheet pan, lay it out. There wasn't too much in here, so I could put more on if I had an extra carton or something like that. And then you can put any type of oil on. So, vast majority of the time I'm just using some olive oil. You can eyeball it, you can measure it out. It really doesn't matter, just kind of depends on your goals. If you're following more of the macros template, then you're obviously going to want to measure it out. But usually a couple glugs will get you, somewhere in the range of 1 to 3 tablespoons. And then you're going to toss it up. Make sure that you get that oil coated all the way through. The vast majority of the time, all that I use is just salt, because I think oil, salt, plus heat really does the job with most of these vegetables. But you can put any seasonings on you want. If you have chili powder, pepper, what have you. So I'm just going to dry off my hands here real quick. And typically, what I'll do is I'll put this in the oven anywhere from 350 to 400, 450, depending on the vegetable. If you've got a heartier vegetable and you want it to be more done, put it in at 400, 450. If you've got something like leeks, which I'll sometimes roast, or onions, then probably 350. So all you do is pop that in the oven, and then basically a half an hour later, it's ready to go. It's ready for you. And one of the nice things that I really like about roasting, in addition to making the food taste fantastic, is that you can go do something else while the food is cooking. So you don't have to be, sitting behind a stove while something's sauteing. Now, I just happen to have here some roasted crucifers that I cooked earlier in the week. So these are Brussels sprouts and cauliflower that I had cooked early in the week. And this is kind of the doneness you want them to. Now, obviously, it's going to depend on who you're cooking them for. Some people like them more done, some people like them less done. As my wife knows, I tend to like things more done, and I would like them even probably a little bit more done than this. But this is probably a good balance for most people, where it's not too overdone charred, but it's done enough that you're getting those really good flavors. But Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, for most people, those things taste not so great when they're steamed or boiled, but they taste really, really good when they are roasted at high heat. And if you take some ghee or some butter and some salt with these crucifers and roast them up, you're going to get a really delicious meal. All right, guys, so hopefully now you've got a good sense of how to cook a lot of these different vegetables. You can do this with green beans, butternut squash, jicama, white potatoes, sweet potatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. I do it with leeks, sometimes You can do it with onions. You can do it with all sorts of different things. Give it a try. See what you see what you think. It's super simple to do, and hopefully you get a delicious meal out of it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.